everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video we are going to be talking about why you really don't need as much makeup as you think you do, and I'm really just here to prove that to you once and for all. I thought I would tie this video in with a bit of a makeup update and a project pan, because so many of you have requested that not only did I repost my old project pan videos, which I have now done, but that I also film an updated version. And to be quite honest, I think you're going to see from the update how little makeup I have used since I last filmed that previous video. So for a bit of context, that previous video, my last project pan, and I know I've been away for a while, but that video was filmed in November 2021. So it was nearly a year and a half ago, and as best I can, I'm going to try and dig out some of those old clips to show some of those products that I was using back then that still exist in my makeup collection right now, so you can really see just how little makeup actually gets used. And if you're not one of my regular viewers and you clicked on this video out of curiosity because you saw the title or the thumbnail and you're actually asking yourself, how much makeup do I really need? How much do I get through? Then you're probably finding that you buy new makeup products before your previous ones have run out, or you're a bit of a I like to try new things sort of person, so you might have a number of different foundations on the go all at once as you try to find one that really works for you. You might find that you never finish a product before you throw it away, and you might throw it away because it's expired or because it's just got a bit dirty. Like powder products in particular, they sort of get everywhere, and if you don't keep on top of cleaning them, they start to feel a bit grubby. So you might have decided to get rid of them for that reason, and you may never really get to the end of a product and actually use it all up. And that can be particularly wasteful and not always necessary. The only thing I would say be cautious about is that expiry date on the back of the product. I generally ignore those, and I'm still here to tell the tale, but I know you should be more cautious with those, so you know, don't come at me about the expiry dates. But what I'm trying to get at is that you may buy more makeup than you necessarily need, and if you actually stop buying makeup and try to use up what you have and sort of go on your own project pan journey, you will see just how long it actually takes to use up makeup. I wear makeup nearly every single day. I will do basic makeup for work, and then at the weekends, if I'm going out and doing something nice, I will probably put a bit more makeup on. The only time I will not wear at least a basic sort of makeup is if I'm not going anywhere, or if the only place I'm going to is the gym. I don't put makeup on just for the gym. So let's break it down. I'm gonna go through what I've got. This is my entire makeup collection, and as I said, I'm gonna try and dig out some of my old clips so you can compare nearly a year and a half later where I am with some of those very same products. When last we spoke about my makeup, I had basically sorted out my entire foundation, concealer and powder situation. I was no longer panning anything because I'd done it. And now I think about it, I'm really not panning an awful lot, with the exception of eyeshadow palettes, which I'm still working through, and lipsticks. Everything is pretty much now where it needs to be, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So last time we spoke, I told you about the fact that I have two foundations that I use. So this is the Collection Lasting Perfection, super duper cheap, and this is more of a high coverage foundation. I really only reach for this if I'm going out, or if I'm filming a video and my skin is just not the one and it's not giving me any confidence whatsoever. And then when I want a lighter weight foundation, I use the Glossier Perfecting Skin Tint, which is, it's not really the consistency of a tinted moisturiser, but it is not heavy like a foundation. It's some sort of in between, but it's perfect for light wearing, if you want sort of a more glowy look and you don't need a lot of coverage. And this is my everyday, so this is what I would put on to go to work. So those are my two foundations that I'm using, although I do tell a slight lie there, because I do actually have two different shades of the Collection Lasting Perfection, just because I bought a warmer one in the summer, but because it's me and it takes me forever to get through makeup, I'm still working through it. I'm pretty certain this is the same one from the November 2021 video, which again, I know this says you should only use it for 12 months, but I just like to use up my products and get the most out of them. And then this one, I believe I bought in the summer last year. So it's getting on for a year old. So there is no panning happening here. That's my entire makeup collection in terms of foundation, but it has not changed. I've replaced this, I think, twice since the November video. and I only know that because I finished a bottle this week, and look, you can tell how much use I get out of it because the label has faded. Like where I've put my hands on it and used it every single day, it's faded. There is nothing left in that. So that's now for the bin. I can finally get rid of it because I've been holding on to that last week. Now that can go. But I've replaced this 2, I would say at most 3 times. This might be my 3rd bottle since that video. So despite the fact that I'm using it every day, I don't go mad, I don't put loads on, and so I'm working my way through this. But that is my foundation situation, and as you can tell, I'm not getting through an awful lot of it. Even with only, call it 2 products on the go, it's not like I've got 6 or 7 different types of products I'm trying to get through. Even with such a small number, I'm still not getting through them at a really quick pace. Then we have got concealer. So I stopped using the Glossier Stretch Concealer just because I didn't feel like it was really giving me, well, basically any sort of coverage, and so I just thought that was a bit of a waste of time. So now I'm just down to the Collection Lasting Perfection concealers, which I think for any of us that have used them by now, we do know they're pretty decent concealers. But to be perfectly honest, I'm not very often reaching for a concealer. I'm just really going in with whichever foundation I'm using and then putting powder on top, and that is pretty much it. So I did make a bit of a slip up. You can kind of see on this one, let's see if it'll focus, that it's basically all gone. You can see where I'm scratching the edge of the bottle to get some out, but there's a tiny bit left in that, hence why I've not got rid of it. But somewhere along the line, I started a new one, despite the fact that there was still a little bit left in here. So I do have 2 on the go of the exact same product, because I do sometimes keep a spare product in my drawer. I don't mind buying a top-up before I finished it off, so when I do finish it off, I can just transition into the next one, and I don't have to completely run out. But I'm usually so good at not opening a new one until this one's finished. Now, granted, this has not got very long left in it, but that was weird that I broke my own rule there. But that's the exact same product for concealer, which I use under my eyes. And then there's also the blemish version, which I have in 2 shades, again, because I bought a warmer one in the summer. So they do a blemish version as well. And so I'm working through both of those. As the weather hopefully warms up, I'll go more to the warmer shade. And I generally only use those when I'm using the higher coverage foundation, when I'm going for a full makeup look. If I'm going for a light wear, you know, I'm starting to get used to just having a few blemishes out and not being awfully bothered by it. I go through phases. There's been times where I haven't cared at all. There has been times where I've been so self-conscious about it, I feel like I won't leave the house without covering everything. And at the minute, I'm just in an okay, happy place. And then I believe in my last Project Pan video, I had stopped using e.l.f. powders maybe, and was transitioning back to Glossier Powder. I've had quite a few pots of this over the last 1.5 years, maybe 4 pots of this, I think, or this would be the 4th since then. But I just continue to use this as my one powder. I love it, and it's really lightweight on the skin, and it just is lovely to put over this. And it doesn't like completely matte it off, so you still have kind of a glowy look. So that is all my sort of basic base products for my face. So nothing has really changed in the last 1.5 years. You'll see if you go back and watch that previous video. Also requires very little storage. So let's talk other face products. And this is where it gets really embarrassing. Does anyone remember this? So I made a video, I think it was just after that Project Pan in November, I think it was around Christmas time. Was that when I did Vlogmas? And I was doing my makeup one night, and I said that I'd be really heartbroken when I finally ran out of this because they stopped making it. And I was talking in that video about whether I'd try a different Too Faced one or what I would do. The time has not actually come quite yet for me to have to make that decision, and it's been 1.5 years. So it's going to be very difficult for me to show you this because we're at crumble stage. And there is next to nothing in this. But I really hope I can find a picture of what it looked like 1.5 years ago so you can compare. But there is basically nothing left in this. And I have been trying my very best to get like a tiny bit of highlight out of this. I don't know if you can tell if it's even visible on here, but this is the same highlight I'm using. The only other bit of a highlight I have is in this NYX. It's kind of like a contour palette, and I've got to apologise for how filthy my makeup is because I have not cleaned it in ages. I also forgot to say, if you're looking at my nails and thinking, oh, what on earth? I'm having one of those weeks where I'm going out at the end of the week, so I know I'll do my nails for that. So despite the fact that they are atrocious and really need doing, I'm putting it off so I can do my nails fresh for that. Please ignore them. So yeah, the only other highlight I really had was this section of this palette, and as you can see, that's just the very edges. I don't know if I could like scrape that out and chuck it all in here and hope for the best, but that's what I'm working with highlighter. So very soon I'm going to need a new one, but it does just go to show, compared to how this was in November of 2021 compared to now, if you do persevere, you can use up your makeup, and it's meant I've not had to pay for another highlighter because I haven't actually used up what I've got. So this really is an ultimate in Project Pan because, well, we've panned and then some. We are going to the very end. I don't know if this is equally or more embarrassing. This is Too Faced. I can't even read what it was called. Look at the back of that. Was it Milk Chocolate Soleil? Is that what it was called? Again, I think I can remember this one from the video. I'm going to put it up, what it looked like back then. Because then, I think I just finished my really old, it was like a 5-year-old Max Factor bronzer. I'd just started the Too Faced, or I was about to, a year and a half ago. And this is the very same one. There is like this tiny bit left. I'm only just seeing this as really frugal now. But anyway, that is all that's left. And I am not kidding you. I get my brush in that every day to get the tiniest bit out. And when I'm feeling like that is too much effort, again, I just come back to this NYX one and I use a bit of the brown shade on there to do a bit of contour. And so again, we are really panning, we are really working through these, and very soon we're going to need a new bronzer. In fact, I might just go for another one of these when I need one because I love the contour shade. And I have been using bronzer to contour because I just do that. And I like having this lighter shade to put on as like a base under any eyeshadows if I do it. But as you can see, I've barely used any of that, if that's going to focus. There we go. So actually I find this quite handy to have all as a 3-in-1. So I could go and get another one of those when everything runs out. And then, oh, is this one more embarrassing? I said the last one was equally or more embarrassing, but I think this one tops it. Because this is my old Max Factor, what was it called? Cream Puff Blush, which I'm not even sure they still make. And this was as old as my Max Factor bronzer, which I just said was at least 5 years old back then. So probably cracking on for about 7 years old. So when it comes to expiry dates, granted this does say you can have it open for 36 months, but that's only 3 years. Again, if I can find an old picture of it, I will put it up, but not only is this broken now, but this is where we're at. We can see the shape of the pan at the bottom. We've no longer got the dome that it used to have, but it is still going. I can't believe that I've potentially had the same blusher for like 7 years. That's really grim, isn't it? Oh, and just so you know, it's not like filthy. It's 2 shades swirled together. It's not like really dirty. Just in case, I mean, I think we've established that this is kind of gross as it is, but I'm not for a second suggesting you keep the same blusher for 7 years. But it just goes to show how long these things actually last if you let them. So it might not be the case that you do this as extreme as I do, but you probably don't need as much makeup as you think. And if you've got a massive collection of it and you just pause your spending habits for a little bit and try to start working through it, you'll get the idea. Let's do brows and lashes next. Again, I feel like you're still not going to believe some of this because it's ridiculous. So I mentioned in the last video that I was getting towards the end of this NYX Control Freak. I use this every single day just to like tidy up a little bit before I do my brows, and it is still going. Like, barely anything comes out anymore, but still a little something does. So this is the exact same product, and I've got so used to using this. Like, I'm really not that bothered about priming products. I just chuck my makeup on and go. But I've got so used to using this and having it as a trusty thing that keeps my brows in place because I don't have a lot of eyebrow hairs, but all of my eyebrow hairs are long. That's what sort of gives them their shape. If I lose a few, then I'm gonna have like gaps. So the fact that I need something to keep those longer hairs in place makes me feel like I'm gonna actually have to replace this now, which I never thought I'd have to say. So there's that. This is the exact same browsings that I was working through. Again, if I can find a comparison picture, but you can see how far along we are. A year and a half later. Does that help if I go sideways on? Is it getting my face? There we go. So you can see the dents in it slightly. But it's the same product from back then. Still going strong. And again, this is probably one, yeah, you're only supposed to have this open 12 months. But it's the same one. Like, I've really worked my way through my makeup in the last year and a half, but it's the same products and they're not used up. I've then got a Glossier Boy Brow on the go and then just a NYX. This is the Lift and Snatch Brow Tint Pen. So both of these are on the go. That was really bad of me because I remember, well, I think I remember, in that video or one of my Project Pan videos, I said I was going to focus on using up browsings, which I have actually been returning to quite a bit lately, but it didn't stop me opening one of each of these products, which is exactly what leads to overbuying and overconsumption, using products before you've finished one off. And that was one of the ways I started to break my own no-buy rules over the time I had sort of away from my channel and while stuff was going on in my life. So clearly brows were a weakness of mine. So now I've got 3 brow products I am working through. And honestly, if I were to say that I would buy a new brow product when I'm done, I would probably stick with the NYX one, which was the cheapest of all 3. Mascara, I finished off my sample size of Too Faced Better Than Sex, which is what I was working through in the last video. I've still got a Glossier Lash Slick on the go. I did start a new one probably about Christmas time because my other one was completely empty and I had a new one in stock, so I started using it again. I generally only use this for my bottom lashes, but only when I've got a black mascara on the top, and I was using that as a pair with Too Faced Better Than Sex. But then that ran out and I didn't replace it for a thicker lash on top. But what I do have is a waterproof one, which I very rarely use. This is just collection again. And I only bought this before going on my cruise in the summer because I knew we'd be doing things around glaciers and waterfalls and then back on the ship, like by the pool and stuff. I did not want my makeup running all down my face. But then I rarely use this because I hate having to get waterproof mascara off. That's such a pain. So if I do use this on the top, I generally use this on the bottom. But because I don't have a non-waterproof sort of heavier upper lash mascara, this now isn't getting as much use. And I've been using this. It's a number 7 and this is a brown mascara. So you can't really have brown on top and black on the bottom. So it doesn't really work. So I have actually got 3 mascaras on the go at the minute. So we're back to a panning situation. Not this, because this is great. I will keep coming back to this. But honestly, I miss Better Than Sex. So when I've got through these and I finally decide I need a new top lash mascara, that's probably what I'll go back to and get a proper one. Or again, a sample size. It doesn't really matter because they last forever. And then at some point in the last year, I had a dab at liquid eyeliner. And this is just the Collection Fast Stroke Eyeliner, which I only ever put on if I'm going for like a full makeup look, and that is my only eyeliner. I can't do pencil eyeliner at all, so I rely on a liquid one. So again, not loads of products there really for all of brows and lashes. That is all of it. But in both circumstances, we are trying to pan. It's not necessarily the right word for products in tubes, but we are trying to pan and we are trying to get through those. Which finally leaves us to the 2 big areas: eyeshadow palettes and lipsticks. Eyeshadow palettes, I don't feel too bad about, and I really don't have too much to say on them, to be honest. I don't feel bad about because I haven't bought a single eyeshadow palette. I have still got all the same eyeshadow palettes that I had when I filmed this last video, and I am very slowly working through them, and I mean very, very slowly. I've learnt my lesson that if ever in my lifetime, which, let's face it, who knows? If I ever get through all of these eyeshadow palettes, you really only need one. It's insane how long it takes to get through these. I can't stress that enough. I went through a phase when I was probably like in my early 20s, you know, your Zoella phase, watching all of her videos and feeling like you need all the makeup in the world. And that's when I bought most of these. So some of these could be, again, yeah, getting on for maybe about 7 years old. maybe like 5 to 7 years old. You just don't get through them. You don't get through eyeshadow palettes. Granted, I don't wear eyeshadow as much as any other makeup item. I would say the thing that I skip the most in my routine is eyeshadow. But even so, you just don't get through them. So when I eventually do get through them all, if that time ever comes, I honestly think I would just have one of the classic Urban Decay Naked palettes, not the cherry, not the heat, the ones with just your basic, like your nudes through to your browns, just to do a classic eye look, and that would be it. But they're exactly the same, there's no new ones, and none of them have been decluttered because I'm still working through them. So no change from the last project pan. I'm not going to go through every single lipstick I've got. You will find the majority of what was in November 22 is still here. The only difference is I broke my own rules because I bought one new shade of a Glossier. So my favourite lipstick I think ever is Glossier Ultra Lip, which looks like this. Ultra Lip. And this is Villa. I guess you'll just have to trust me. This is Villa. And when I was in London, I really wanted to go to the Glossier store because I'd never been to the one in London. I've been to the one in LA, but I've never been to the one in London, and I really wanted to go. And I had in mind I'd just be going in there to replace my Villa and my Body Hero, which is like a oil mist, which I did. I replaced both of those things. And my Villa really did need replacing. I was using it. It was right down to the metal, to the point that when I was putting it on, I could feel the metal running along my lips. I wish I'd have kept it to show you what I was still working with. But you've seen my bronzer, so you probably know what I was working with. But whilst I was in London, I was tempted because I just love these Ultra Lips. I love that they go on as lipsticks, but shine like lip glosses. I absolutely adore them. Granted, they're not that long lasting, and I generally find I need to top up every now and then, but I digress. My point is, I broke my own rules and I was tempted to buy another shade. So I bought Portrait. So this is now 3 shades I have, because I have Villa. I also have Fate, which is like a really red one. But then I also bought Portrait. So I've got like a nude shade, a red shade, a pink shade. I did not need this. We can see that. I'm still working through so many lip products. This is also lip balms as well as lipsticks. Way back to, like if I dig in here, I've got a really old Stila Stay All Day, which is in the shade Chianti, which I've had since before that last project pan. I was trying to work through it then. I've got 3, if anyone remembers these, of the Sophia Nygaard Colourpop collab lipsticks. They came in a set of 6 and I've still got 3 of them. And if you've been around for a very, very long time watching my videos, I've also got a few of the sample sizes that came in one of the NYX advent calendars. Again, must have been 5 years ago. So with lipsticks, as with eyeshadows, it's so difficult to get through them all if you don't consistently use a product. So I got through my Villa because I was using it every day. It was my everyday lipstick. But if it's like, I'm not going to reach for a purple lipstick every single day. This was from when I was big on my autumn colours and didn't mind a bold lip. I don't know at what point I should just declutter them, but I feel like I should try to use them up because for the most part, as we have seen, it stops me from buying anything else. I'm going to stop talking now because I've been talking for ages. But hopefully, for those of you that just wanted a project pan update, you can see the situation we're in now. But if you did come to this video, if you did click on it thinking, right, maybe I need to reassess my situation with my makeup, hopefully you have seen that you really don't need as much makeup as you think you do. And more often than not, you're probably just buying products because you see something that sparks your interest and you think it would be nice to try, or you've seen it advertised, you've seen it somewhere else, someone else wearing it. And you know, that's not a bad thing. We're all swayed by that. But if you are looking to cut back, if you're sort of acknowledging the fact that you've got too much makeup and you're ready to start working through what you've got, then just know that your makeup products will last for a very long time, even if you're consistently using them. So you probably don't need any more makeup. I hope you found this video either enjoyable or at least a little bit helpful. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed and you like to see content about minimalism, decluttering, savings, capsule wardrobes, things like project pans and a few other bits sprinkled here and there, that's generally what I post videos about. we try to keep things generally positive and upbeat over on this corner of the internet. So if that's something you're interested in, please hit that subscribe button, and hopefully I'll see you again in another video. Let me know down in the comments how your project pans are going, because I know there's a lot of you out there that watch these videos that are also doing the same thing, and you've come from the same place that I did, where as a sort of late teenager, maybe early to mid-20s, you were influenced by all the social media and all the creators back then, and you just ended up with a ton of makeup that you're now working through. So let me know how yours is going as well. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another one soon. Until then, take care. Bye.